Okay, that was getting a little ridiculous there. I wanted to look up Price is Right theme music like I did for the last game, Roulette. And come to think of it, I don't know why that's the music I wanted to go with. This isn't a game show. It's supposed to be, an awards show. I know I'm dressed like I work in a movie theater right now, but this is as formal as I'm willing to get for this, which I would argue is pretty good. Um, anyway, it's time for another Game Roulette Awards show tonight. I got through another 10 streams of Game Roulette, and so it's time to do it again. I'm kind of wondering if, like, maybe in the future I should just make this like a once a year thing, regardless of how many streams actually happened. Because honestly, like, coming up with some of the awards, like, sometimes the choices for each category get a little limited. But let's see, I should get some stuff off the screen here. Should get that off the screen. Get this get ready stuff off the screen. And man, it's been so many months since I last did this. So let me see. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to prep my audience. Let me find them here. Where's my... I just had this pulled up the other day. Where did I put the audience? Where did I put this? Did I scroll past it? I don't see it in my history. It's gotta be here. Like, I've got all of the music that I'm planning to use. It can't have been that long ago. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna have to search it. I have to search my history. There it is. Okay. I have found the audience. There they are, giving themselves a hand. All right. They're very happy to be here. Anyway, yeah, the music I had playing, it was... I don't know what the hell this is, but it's the video is titled... You might have noticed it was a little off off key or something. This video is titled "The Price is Right theme song 2007 Sega Genesis remix," and I'm like, what Sega Genesis game came out in 2007? Did somebody put out a Price is Right video game for the Sega Genesis in 2007? I think I missed that one. I mean, like the Persona games always have a reputation of like coming out on the console generation prior to what's actually out because they spend so long developing them. Now, but let me find my list of awards. I spent so long preparing before the stream, and yet I'm still like so unprepared. Okay, got my list of nominees and winners. So we're gonna get into that here in a second. It's almost time to start. Oh, one thing I do want to change though is like I had that whole gag in the first Game Roulette Awards of how I was like, oh, I need to find a hat that's like more formal than this, and I had the pink cat ears hat, and like I should have come up with something like a little more serious than that. So I do have another hat I need to change into to do the awards. It's going to take it a little more seriously. Yeah, there we go. I'm not wearing a pink cat-eared hat anymore. It's a gray and brown cat-eared hat. It clearly shows the weight of the occasion a lot better. Can I like roll this up a little more maybe? Like give it another roll. Well, now it's not keeping my ears warm. Of course, like it's May as I'm doing this, so what difference does that make? But okay, so the plan for tonight is I'm going to give the awards for all of these games that I played and spend a little time after the awards talking about the ones that didn't quite win anything, but maybe they were still remarkable in their own way. Or maybe not. But okay. So let's roll up into the first category here. How did I do this last time? Text? Yeah, okay. So there's a leftover from the first game roulette. I just need to change that. So the first one is highest recommendation. And you might be aware that I recycled the text document that I used the first time and kept the same award names. Game I think you should buy. It's not centered. It's not like center oriented. Hold on. I don't know if I can do that, but that's fine. That's fine. If you happen to catch the first Game Roulette Awards, this is akin to like your best picture. And as I said last time, a more legitimate awards show might save that for the end. But no, what I'm saving for the end is the actual new game roulette that I'm going to do. So we're going to start with like the biggest award and then work our way down to the games that don't really get awards. So as it went the first time, how did I do this? I need to add... Oh, hey, it's Hate That King. You're just in time. The awards show is just starting. I even got my formal occasion hat on for this one. Okay, I needed media source. I need to add that. Give me just a second to find it. I've got video clips of all the games. So the way it worked last time and the way it's going to work this time is I'm not going to, tell you all of the nominees and then be like, and the winner is so-and-so. I'm just going to tell you all the runner-ups first and then tell you, like, the absolute highest recommendation. Although everything that's in this category is a winner. Everything here is something that's really good and that is worth your time and money. Where is the first one? Here we go. I was like, oh, there it goes. Yeah, look at that. This one is Into the Breach. Hold on, I forgot to set this to loop. I don't remember how to do that. Properties, loop, there we go. Okay, so yeah, this one was really good. You might remember it as a game by the developers of FTL. And it's really good. It's like a very just like miniature tactics game. It's the kind of game where like every single turn you take matters, and it's this strategic premise where you are controlling like a few pilots in a few high-tech military vehicles trying to fight aliens and minimize the civilian casualties. It's very strategic, very tough in my experience, but it has a lot of depth to it, a lot of unlockables, and although this was not one that I played further after the streams, that's going to be a thing of its own category, it's still very much worth people's money. So it gets a little place of honor down there. I'm going to leave that in there to keep on playing. And let me pull up the next game here. Runner-up number 2. Honestly, like, I'm sure everybody has heard of this game. It needs no introduction. But just in case, there it is. It's Celeste. Like I said, I know this one got a ton of buzz when it came out. Everybody was talking about it, and everybody played it, except for me at the time. But, once I got it in a free giveaway, I finally gave it a try in the game roulette, and I had a lot more fun with it than I expected to. It seemed, in a similar vein to like your Super Meat Boy type of games, and so I thought it was going to be like this really annoyingly challenging, like hard for the sake of hard platformer. But in the short time that I spent with it, it introduced some interesting mechanics. Like you can see this level playing right now where clones of yourself will follow you and mimic every action that you take, and if one of them touches you, you die. And that was really cool. It made me think that, wow, this game probably has a lot more interesting things to offer down the line. So that one's very much worth also. Oh, and I forgot to mention the MSRPs of these. Into the Breach is normally $14.99. Celeste is normally $19.99, and like I said, I got it in a free giveaway. I still, recommend waiting for sales for these games, but I recommend waiting for a sale for every game. So that's not anything special. It's not that these games are not worth it. And there's another one that I forgot to tell to Loop. It got to the end of its video. There it is. Celeste, game number 2. I've got 2 more runners up to tell you about. I don't think I planned out my spacing of the video windows well enough there. But the next one is Cook Serve Delicious 2. This one was really cool. I know there's a Cook Serve Delicious 3 out, and playing this one made me want to try the third one. I have not bought it yet, but I might get around to it one of these days. It's, honestly, I've always wanted to play, a really interesting cooking simulator game. This one is more like a, restaurant rush simulator, though, and what it ends up being is not so much, a challenge of the difficult nuances of cooking as it is memorizing hotkeys and trying to press them as quickly as you possibly can without screwing up somebody's order. And it's super hectic, but just really satisfying once you get into the rhythm of it and get moving at a really high speed and just firing off all of your tasks. So even though it doesn't really feel like you're simulating cooking in this game, it's just really fun. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a WarioWare or Mario Party mini game that's just a lot more fleshed out, has a lot more mechanics, and really sucks you in. It's hypnotic once you really get into the groove on this one. The normal price on that one is $12.99, but I know it goes on sale all the time for super cheap. But that is absolutely something worth checking out, and I'm sure the third game is equally worth checking out. So I'm gonna tuck this one away. How am I gonna arrange these? I need to make better use of my space. Maybe I can I can probably do this. I'll put the winner over on the left. But let me add the next one. Also, I think when I do one of these in the future, I should put the names of the games on the video clips, in text format. I'll do that for the next awards show. I'll try to remember. Game number 4 that I think is worth your money. This one is Talomere. This one, I don't think I had really heard of before I played on the game Roulettes. And it was really cool. It's this, a roguelite platformer, dungeon crawler type of thing. But had pretty fun combat. It had, really entertaining, gore effects. Enemies will just, explode when you kill them, basically. Some surprising weapons like a flamethrower and a rocket launcher, and all kinds of challenge modes and unlockables and stuff like that to play with. So I could see, getting a whole lot of time out of a game like this. And this one is at the best price out of the bunch. This one, on a normal day, is only $3.99. For that price, that one's especially worth it. This is, out of this group, this is probably the one that is most worth the price, best dollar value probably, but absolutely worth checking out if you're into that kind of game. Oh no, where did Cook Serve Delicious go? Did I forget to set that one to loop also? Hold on. I keep doing that. I keep forgetting to set the loop. Anyway, the game that I am declaring the winner of this category, really just the top achiever in this category, because they're all winners, is... I promise I'm not just building tension here. Scuffed stream, what does that mean? I'm not trying to just build tension. This is me trying to locate the files to display them on screen. But yeah, the top winner is Steam World Heist. That is my number one choice. I played Steam World Dig in a past stream. But this one was, a completely different genre. It's like a 2D XCOM style game, a turn-based tactical strategy game, which was really cool. I enjoyed this quite a bit. I want to go back to it personally, like on my own time, and play a lot more of it, because like the 2D side-scroller format works surprisingly well for an XCOM-esque game. It's very cool. Good artwork in this one and everything. It has, some humor to it, which is sometimes good. But overall, this is probably the game I enjoyed the most, I would say. So I'm going to call that the winner. Oh, I've been forgetting to do the applause for these. So, okay, let's hear it for all of these. Let's hear it for everybody in the highest recommendation category. Aren't they great? They're all winners, like I said. They're all amazing. You should go buy all of them. All right. Now let's get them off of here. And we're going to move on to another category. Let's see what comes next. All right. This one is a category which is going to be pretty well exclusive to, a game roulette type of setting. It's the best single-sitting game. Pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes I get a game on the Game Roulette streams where I can play the whole thing start to finish and get a complete experience out of it. And I thought I should highlight those. I'm probably going to be listing every single sitting game that I played, good or bad, but the winner in this category will just be the one that was my favorite. So let me find the first one here. So the first one is going to come with an asterisk. We got Needhog here. That's a Needhog. I say that it has an asterisk because I did not actually finish this one in the Game Roulette sitting, but I did come very close. I think I only had like 1 or 2 enemies left to fight, but it was getting to be time-consuming enough that I didn't know how long it was going to take me, and so I called it quits. But it could very easily be a single-sitting game for somebody else. Excuse me. And not only is it like a good single-sitting game, potentially, but it's something I could see playing repeatedly. It's so fast-paced that, 10 seconds feels like an hour. It's like so much happens in such a short span of time that would, normally take such a long time in any other video game. So that one was a blast. Would recommend, would play again. Let's put that down in the corner here. All right. And then let me load up the next single-sitting game. This one is 20 Minute Metropolis. And it was a pretty unique little gimmick. It's it has 20-minute in the name, so it's designed to be a game that you play in a short sitting. Very cool premise. You're given this plot of blank land, and you are tasked with building a city, very Sim City like, and trying to earn the highest score you possibly can in the course of 20 minutes. The only reason I wouldn't rank this one higher or like recommend it higher is that it has the same map every time you play it. There isn't like any kind of variation in the maps. There's no random generation. There's no parameters you can set to generate a different map. It's just static, the exact same one every time. So that's, kind of a point against it, but it was still fun for what it was. It was a good single sitting. In a game roulette, I'm always down to have a short game. So there's another runner-up for your consideration. And now, my next one. It was honestly very hard to decide on a winner for this category, so this one is a very close second. It was Hitchhiker. This is the kind of thing that, like, before I did game roulette streams, I never would have guessed would be something that I would care about at all, because you actually do very little in this game. Most of it consists of sitting in the passenger seat of a car and listening to this character talk. But it was still a really fun experience because a little plot unfolds and this character's dialogue is pretty interesting. He comes across as like a really odd character and also feels genuinely like the type of person who would pick up a random hitchhiker. Uh, it unfolded like pretty well. It got a little surreal at the end, a little abstract. Yes, this is still the same game. um, but yeah, I had a pretty good time with that. It had, almost no interaction. It had a few dialogue choices which probably didn't even impact the outcome of the game, maybe at all. But I liked it. If it was like a proof of concept for something larger, then I would say keep an eye on this developer, because they have some good potential as shown in this. But my actual winner, and it might even come as a surprise to anybody who was present for this game roulette, uh, is going to be 3 out of 10. Yeah, believe it or not. This one, you might also put an asterisk on this one, because this was 3 out of 10, episode 1 out of like 5. And this one is completely free to play. You can download it and play it, no cost. And I assumed for a while that, like, oh, they probably make episode 1 free and then make you pay for the rest of the game. Not even the case. The whole thing is free, every episode. But it was a pretty neat idea. It's basically like an animated sitcom blended with a series of various mini games. And all of the mini games are like wildly different. They're completely different genres. See, here is one where it's like a falling block puzzle game. And there's another one that's like a sliding block puzzle. But had a surprising amount of fun with that one. The fact of it being like half animated series along with the gameplay means that like it kind of is by necessity going to have to lean a lot on its writing. And I'm going to be honest, like a lot of the humor didn't land with me. I didn't, I wasn't like appalled or miserable with it, but I was just like, they're making an effort. I acknowledge the humor, but it didn't like make me crack up personally. So, there's always that gamble when you're going to try to lean on humor in anything you make, really. It's going to click with some people and it's not going to click with others. But yes, despite whatever flaws I might have seen in it, I'm still calling that the best single sitting game. And especially since it's free, you might as well give it a download and give it a try and see if it's right for you. Oh shit. I forgot. I forgot about the audience again. I forgot to let them have their moment of applause. I've been so rude to them. Let's let them get a little bit of it out of their system. Let's hear it for all of the best single sitting games. Okay. Scuffed for getting applause. It happened again. Yeah. It's kind of funny, the YouTube video where I have that stock applause sound effect. It has hashtags above the title. It says hashtag clap for yourself. Hashtag people, hashtag soundscape. It was pretty funny. I like hashtag clap for yourself. Do you think people load up this YouTube video and listen to the applause and to imagine that the audience is applauding for them? Fuck, isn't that exactly what I'm doing right now? No. What I'm doing is completely different. They're clapping for the games. They're clapping for the games that I'm presenting. It's not for me. Lord knows I'm not a good host. It couldn't be mine. Next category. This is another kind of self-explanatory one. Played further after the stream was over. Yep. That doesn't fit too great. Let me hold on. There we go. Another kind of self-explanatory one. These are games that, for whatever reason, were good enough for me to play more of after I had gone offline and stopped the game Roulette. The last Game Roulette Awards, there was only one of these, and I didn't even think the game was that great in the end. But this time we have 3, and I'm not going to declare one of these the winner. I'm just going to declare all of these on equal ground, because I don't want this to be a judgment call on these games beyond they had something of value that kept me playing more of them. And so, the first one, it's once again Cook Serve Delicious 2. It's already come up in one award category, but yeah, I've played this one a handful of times. I just like to launch it up now and then and play a few rounds. It also has a lot of unlockable content and a lot of different scenarios and stuff, so there's a ton to get through in the game, which is part of why I say I'm sure the third game is also amazing, just like this. But, since I've already talked about that one, we're gonna just put that over here. The second game that I played further after ending my stream was Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. This one I kind of loved as soon as I heard the title of it. One of my favorite premises in games is you're in an extraordinary sci-fi or fantasy setting, but your player character does something really mundane and never goes off on a grand adventure and never plays a major part in the epic story of this world. So I love the concept of being in this fascinating sci-fi spaceport, and all you do is just walk around and pick up trash, basically, and buy the food that you need every day. So I played a bit of that one because I got the sense that it would be a pretty short game. I never ended up finishing it though, mostly because completing the objectives I would have needed to complete depended on a lot of RNG, and I was getting a little bit tired of it. Still, overall, a pretty good experience. So there's definitely some value in that one. And I've got one more in this category. Let's find that one. This one, honestly, kind of in a similar vein to Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. It was Holy Potatoes, a weapon shop. This is something that had been on my radar for a long time, and I finally got a hold of it and finally got around to playing it on one of these streams. And, it was pretty much what I thought it was going to be. You run a weapon workshop and you make items and sell items to the actual adventurers. So I thought, it might be something similar to like Reciteer, which is a game I love and used to stream a lot in the past. Um, and, it's pretty good. I played more of it to kind of like see more of the mechanics and see what the game has to offer. It turns out it gets very grindy, very fast, gets very repetitive. So I probably wouldn't recommend it as something more than like a game you play when you're doing something else, like you're watching a movie or watching a quality stream of a game Roulette. I can recommend it in that setting. So, there goes that one. Oh yeah, Holy Potatoes was another one that had like a sense of humor that didn't land with me very much. But let's forget about that and just give them a hand. Let's hear it for all of the played further after the stream was over winners. Yeah, yeah. How nice. Okay. I've got, let's see, one, two, three, four, about four more categories of awards before I just go and talk about the non-winners. So next one is the category Most Pleasant Surprise. There's a lot of games in the game Roulettes that I don't really look forward to. Games where like I've seen their trailer or their promo art and I think, yeah, that's not going to be for me, but I give them a try anyway. And sometimes I end up having a lot more fun than I thought I would. So, let's see what I've got here. The first runner-up is Ape Out. You might have heard of this one, I don't know. I didn't have high hopes for it because I think I had seen that like it had pretty lukewarm reviews from people online, but once I ended up playing it, I kind of had a blast with it. It has that top-down perspective, kind of like an old GTA game, but, a little more stylized. It had, really cool drum music that went along with every level and would, like, sync up with the actions you took in the level. It's very difficult, though. It's, like, very easy to get killed, and sometimes the levels would get pretty long. I didn't play 100% of this game, but I felt like I got pretty close. I did get through quite a bit on the stream. That one was great. I loved all of the guerrilla violence, throwing people out of buildings. It was honestly kind of a blast. I loved that one a lot. Um, Only reason I didn't like recommend it higher, like call it one of the games you should definitely buy, was just that it got kind of frustrating at times. That might just be me being bad at video games, but it's definitely worth a look, I think. Still, it's a runner-up in Most Pleasant Surprise. Oh, let's hear it for Ape Out. Let's hear it for that one. Yeah, let's give that one a little love. I need to be giving some attention to every game, not just the winners. My second Most Pleasant Surprise might be a surprise to you, the audience, too. Um, it's Gone Home. Yeah, this is something I didn't at all expect to enjoy. I was like, oh yeah, it's just gonna be a boring walking simulator. You're just gonna like go around to this house and listen to the main character narrate their life story, and some really boring stuff happens, and it turns out somebody died or something like that. And it was a pleasant surprise, not because I was like enthralled with the narrative or the mechanics or anything like that, but it was a pleasant surprise because I discovered you could pick up books in this game, and like every book you could pick up had an actual ISBN printed on the back. And what I had so much fun with was getting on the internet and Googling what these ISBNs were and figuring out what real world books they corresponded to. And there were some really weird results sometimes. Some very unexpected stuff came up. Um, I'm just going to leave that in the air as a teaser to get you to go and watch the stream where I did Gone Home, because you will see some buck wild shit come up in that stream. Oh, there's one of them. There's there's one of the books that I absolutely loved. It was pretty hilarious. But that's just a little teaser for you. That's a thing of mine. Like, I always look up ISBNs if I see, like, if I'm watching a movie or playing a game or something, and I see a real ass ISBN pop up on a book, which is supposed to be a fictional book. I absolutely Google that shit and see what the real book was that the artist took the barcode from. And let's hear it for Gone Home, and let's hear it for ISBNs. Ooh, I need to be making more opportunity of those applause breaks to drink my water. I feel like I'm already losing my voice. So, the winner of Most Pleasant Surprise, which I can wholeheartedly recommend, was Pyre. I wasn't expecting to like this one, um, because, like, I had heard beforehand that it was a CRPG, that it was going to be something kind of in the style of, like, Baldur's Gate, which I've tried to play in the past. I never played them until, like, way after they came out and way after the peak of their popularity, so from my perspective, they feel kind of old-fashioned, and they have a lot of dense mechanics that I have not often had the patience to, like, dig into. I heard that Pyre was going to be a game like that, and it turned out to be something a lot easier to pick up, a lot more interesting. I think I said as I was playing it that it reminded me of the Blitzball minigame from Final Fantasy X, except actually good. The gameplay was actually like genuinely fun. It felt like you were playing a little sports game, like a little soccer or basketball-esque thing with these three-person teams, and like there's three different types of characters and they all have their different special moves, different point values and stuff. And all the like the enemy teams would have different compositions, so no two battles were quite the same. And it's a super giant game, so they've always got fantastic artwork in those. I can never say a single bad thing about that. This is a game that I almost played more of after the stream was over. Not quite, but still, it was good enough that it's my winner of Most Pleasant Surprise. That's the top one. Let's hear it for Pyre and all the rest of our nominees. Hello, Mr. Wankman. And yes, I realize I look like an ice cream man. This is my formal attire. See, I said at the beginning of the stream that I looked like I work in a movie theater. But yeah, Ice Cream Man is probably more fitting. I probably thought of movie theater because I bought this bow tie years and years ago when I got my first job working at a movie theater. And this is probably my first time wearing it since then. It's been like stuck back in my sock drawer until I dusted it off for game roulettes. Right, so moving on to the next category on this one, which is favorite art direction. I should make a footnote. Art in this category does not encompass the soundtrack. That is going to be its own category. So, what have I got here? 4 different nominees. My first nominee, my first runner-up, I'm going to go with something that might be a controversial take. It's the 3rd time I have mentioned this game now. But it's Cook Serve Delicious 2, of course. And this might be a hot take, because you might look at this and be like, what the hell are these characters? They look hideous. It's so weird. But, hear me out. I think the artwork they did for the food in this game is like genuinely great. Like the food looks realistic and like actually appealing. This looks like something I would actually want to eat. And like in a game like this, that's crucial. Like you absolutely need the food artwork to look good in order to sell a game like this. And like I will not hear you out because I'm seeing this art. No, like look at how like realistic that chicken breast looks. That looks like a real ass chicken breast. Looks like something you could genuinely eat. Those nachos actually look good. Those are some real ass looking nachos. I would eat those nachos. But yeah, I've talked about this game plenty already in the other 2 categories, but I just wanted to throw out a little appreciation for their art style also. And now I can tuck that one away in the corner. That one's not even a browser game. That is a retail game. It's a real-ass game you can buy, and it's very good. Let's listen to the audience applause for this game. They love it. They adore Cook Serve Delicious 2 and its brilliant artwork. My next runner-up. Let me find that. Okay. This is another one that I have mentioned before, and I'm gonna mention again. Well, I'm gonna mention it again right now, not after this. But it's Needhog. So, obviously, a very simplistic art style in this one. It's nothing like extremely loaded up with the graphical fidelity. It's not super high resolution with a million polygons and whatever. The characters are just solid color silhouettes, but the animations work really well for how simplistic the characters are. And what I also love about it is just the like persistent blood effects in it. Not on this screen, because this screen takes place in the clouds. But like everywhere else, when you're like brutally battling these like endless characters, it's amazing to like see just the blood just piling up. And it's so good. But you failed to get anyone to play that game with. Is this game multiplayer? If it is, I didn't know that. But anyway, I still had a lot of fun with it, and it looks gorgeous. You can't argue with that. I just love, the bright colors and all that persistent blood. It's fantastic. Give it up for Needhog again. Okay. Now, my third runner-up. What have I got here? Okay, this is another one where it seems like, kind of obvious. Like, I don't think anybody can really argue with this one. But we're once again bringing in Celeste. Just looks beautiful. Absolutely love the pixel art. I was especially admiring in this game how you can like crouch and like look up and down with this character, and like how like squishy the character is, how she'll like pinch and like squash, and it was just like really expressive for a character who is so resolution that you can't even see her face. So that's a winner in my book. Beautiful pixel art, beautiful levels, all around excellent design work. Let's hear it for Celeste again. Yes, girl is squishy 10 out of 10. Perfect. I just realized every single game in the favorite art direction category is a repeat. It's already been in another category. And this is another one that might turn out to be kind of a hot take. But my winner in this category is going to be Ape Out. And look at that, it popped up like directly in the spot I need it to be. Give it up for Ape Out again. This one had my favorite art direction out of all the games, just because, like, again, it's something really minimalistic. A lot of, like, solid single color characters. But I just really liked how it has that extreme top down perspective. And, this is yet another one with, like, persistent blood effects. I liked how, that effect, how when you died, it would show you a squiggly line of everywhere you had run. The giant text popping up was really cool. The enemies just exploding when you throw them was great. It's a visual treat, as they say. So let's hear it for all of our winners in the art direction category. I just realized I have a backup water here, so I can refill my water with more water. That's awesome. Let's hear it for water. Alright, let's get all those off of the screen. And I've got, 3 more categories to go. Our next one, it's going to be a weird one. Favorite soundtrack. It's going to be weird because I think the first time I did Game Roulette Awards, I actually like prepared MP3s to play during the stream, and I couldn't actually hear them the first time. This time I found the OSTs on YouTube, and I'm gonna play them and see how that goes. I'm just gonna play like a few seconds of them because I don't know if any of these developers or musicians might be like litigious and be like, I didn't give you permission to use my soundtrack in a stream. That's kind of the fear in the back of my head. So, first game in the favorite soundtrack category. I'm doing yet another like weird hot take, but this one, well, this is like the first nominee because this is like the most questionable one easily. But it was War Sim. And the thing about this one is I could not actually find the music on YouTube. And I wasn't sure if I would be able to find the point in the game where the music plays again, but I will just encourage you to go watch the stream where I played this one, because there's just one part. It, like, The game doesn't even have like consistent music playing throughout. It just had one scene that really surprised me, where you're in a bar and there's like an orc or something playing punk music in the bar, and an actual song, like with full on lyrics and everything, started playing. I completely didn't expect that to happen. I loved it. I listened to it at least one more time during that stream, and it was unforgettable. Absolutely a highlight of that game. So, I can't play that one for you right now, unfortunately, but let's give that up anyway. Mogus. What have I got next? Okay. I didn't realize before I started this how much I filled my nominee list up with hot takes and weird interpretations. But here is Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor again. This is another one that had situational music. Most of the music throughout the game was just like, yeah, whatever, it's there, you know. But there was like one day when I was playing, like one in-game day, where there's like a festival going on, and you hear, let me see if I can play it. Yeah, I don't know how audible it is. Should be pretty good. Yeah. Just an absolute jam playing on the festival days. And the thing that was really cool about it was you could go around to different groups of people who would be playing like a different number of instruments, and the soundtrack would actually change depending on which instruments were there. So that was really cool. Another like very pleasant surprise in the music category. So, let's hear it for that one. Bit on the quiet side. Okay, I'll play the next one louder. Okay. Two more games in this category. Another one was... Oh shit, it's already loaded in the chamber. I don't even have to look it up. Boom. It's Celeste being mentioned for the third time. Let me load this one up here. Let me do this. Yeah. So this one, somebody in the chat even called it as I was playing it. They were like, this one's going to be a nominee for like best soundtrack when you do the awards again, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, probably. It was really good. Let me skip ahead a little more. Really good. Squishy Girl soundtrack. I mean, who doesn't like squishy girls, okay? Let's hear what the audience has to say about squishy girls. No, but yeah, like the Celeste soundtrack, you know, it really helped like establishing the atmosphere. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, it was like chiptune-y, and you know, had that cool like kind of just desolate sound to it, which was really good. Um, what have I got next? Oh yeah, so the winner in this category Let me pull it up here. Was Earth Night. This was one where, like, as I was playing it, I was like I could not stop talking about the soundtrack. Let me pull that up now. This was another chiptune soundtrack, and I was like, damn, this rules. It sounded so good. It was so intense, and it made me completely forget about all of the frustrating losses I was piling up in the game. You know, I will give you that. It does sound very much like it could be Mega Man or Sonic music. It's very good like that. Let's hear it for all of these winners. Good stuff. Boom, boom. Alright, I'm in the last couple of categories here. The next one coming up, favorite story or setting. For all of the good story material that I encountered on here, and sometimes, you know, it wasn't the story, sometimes a game doesn't really have like a narrative, but sometimes it has like a really nicely realized setting, very, you know, believable or realistic. So I'm giving credit to a few of those. My first runner-up, oh, believe it or not, a Squishy Girl game is not in this category. But this is a repeat winner. It's Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. Yeah. I mentioned already that I love that premise of being just like a mundane, regular person in an extraordinary setting. And this one, you know, really nailed that pretty well. It made you feel like just an insignificant, dick-sucking janitor on this shitty space station. But, you know, still a lot of, like, fantastical, unbelievable sci-fi stuff happening around you. And it's just part of your everyday life as you have to dig in the trash. And honestly, like, be miserable most of the time. So they did a really good job at that. Oh, what did I just move? Hold on. I grabbed the wrong thing. There we go. Let's hear it one more time for Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. That one's good. My next one was Pony Island. This one also kind of surprised me. It was one of those things where I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got this game pegged. I know it's one of those where like it starts out looking really innocent and it's hiding something sinister behind its happy facade." And once I got into it, I realized that there's no happy facade in this at all. But it turned out to be a pretty cool premise. Like, basically, it was like you, the player, as a character, are sitting at this computer, and it seems to be inhabited by, like, some kind of satanic being, some demonic entity, which is trying to keep you in the game and keep you from breaking free, and you're trying to, like, hack the computer at the same time to, like, free yourself and find ways to break this game. So that was really cool. That was another one that I still might go back to on my own time. I might finish it up because I felt like I was pretty close to the ending when I got through it. It seems like a pretty short game. It kind of is a green text copy pasta in game format. but really cool. You know, it had some neat puzzle mechanics, and you know, kind of cool in a gimmicky way. So let's hear it for that one. Pony Island, everybody. And I've only got 3 in this category. So, my favorite story slash setting out of all of these was. You might be surprised by it if you've watched a lot of game roulettes. Oddworld. And this one specifically was Oddworld New and Tasty, which I think was just like a remake of the first Oddworld game, if I've heard right. Let's hear it for that one. Yeah. So, you know, I don't know if it was necessarily one of my favorite games overall. It was fun in its own way, but I just really love like the look of this world. It's so like bleak and dismal. Oddworld was tastier than the food making game. I mean, it has a dedicated fart button. How can you go wrong? But yeah, really like very detailed world going on here, and really just nailed that disgusting like dystopian setting. So it did the best job at what it was setting out to do, I think. Let's hear it for those winners. All right. From the clips I've seen of the original Oddworld, it has that old-fashioned tone where there's lots of silence during it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not so creepy, you know, like a horror game would be creepy. It's more like dark humor than anything. I feel like if you described it to somebody, they would be like, oh, yeah, that's a horror game. But when you actually see it, you realize, like, it's got a pretty, like, like, a pretty prevalent sense of humor throughout it. So let's see. I'm on the final category. Well, final category of winners, anyway, and then I'll be talking about the rest. Favorite gimmick. This one, you know, it doesn't have to be a favorite game by any means, but just a game that tried something really different, showed me something I had never seen before, and was captivating in a way that I had never really encountered in a game before. 2 of these are going to be repeat mentions, and the first nominee is not one of those. So this one is Transistor. And, well, like I said, it's not necessarily going to be a game that I enjoyed the most in this category, but this one had a cool gameplay gimmick where you could kind of Zawardo freeze time and then line up a bunch of actions that your character is going to perform when time unfreezes, and then after you hit execute, you do all of those actions all at once in a row. It seemed like it could make for a lot of really interesting mechanics, but in the short time that I played it, the strategy ended up being, most of the time, just freeze time, walk behind enemy, mash the attack button repeatedly until enemy is dead. And, you know, that worked. So, yeah. This was another Supergiant game, just like Pyre. But, yeah, it wasn't my favorite. I wasn't that compelled to play more of it. But if that gimmick sounds interesting to you, then you might like to give it a bigger try than I did. Let's hear it for that. Hear it for Transistor. Got that one. Alright. Now the next one I just got done talking about. It's Pony Island once again. And this one, well, let's hear it for Pony Island first. Let's have another round of applause for this one. Short round of applause. That's good. This isn't necessarily something that I hadn't seen before. I mean, even in the game Roulette streams, I had games like Macdos 95, which I think I even credited in the previous favorite gimmick category, where it's like you are navigating a fictional OS and just finding all of the different weird ways you can interact with it. But, you know, even if it might have been a gimmick I had seen before, it's still an enjoyable way to structure a game. And it must be, like, really difficult to develop, also, just to plan out how it's all going to work. But I think they deserve some credit for that. So let's give them some credit. And the winner in my favorite gimmick category this time around, it's a game I've already talked about. It's 3 out of 10. It's weird too because, like, for being a game where I've said repeatedly that, like, a lot of the humor doesn't really land for me, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know, I kind of have to give them credit for what they were going for. They did a good job designing these various mini games that you go throughout the game. You know, even if I didn't think the characters were the funniest, they were still pretty well written. They were pretty distinct. I could appreciate what they were going for. 0 out of 10 Mactos is not here. It was in the last Game Roulette Awards show. Macdos 95 was already featured, and I'm pretty sure it got an award. So of course it's not featured in this one. This is only for the last 10 streams. I'll kill you. But anyway, yeah. I would love to see more games in this style, you know? I think it's a bold move to try and blend, like, an animated series with a video game. And, you know, if the humor was more in my style, then I would have been all about this game. It would have been a 10 out of 10 instead of a 3 out of 10. Ha ha, oh. Ah. Isn't that great? Give it up for my joke. All right, well, with that concludes the awards segment of this kind of retrospective. I'm probably going to turn this one into a YouTube video just like I did the first Game Roulette Awards. I'm going to edit that down and, you know, try to promote the streams with that. And so if anybody's watching this on YouTube in the future, this is going to be the point where the video ends, and this is where I will say, make sure you follow me on Twitch. My Twitch name is listed in this video itself, and probably going to be in the description. And so make sure you catch these streams, because you never know what you're going to get in a game roulette. They're always a lot of fun. The people who are staying after the show now will get to hear me go over all of the games I hadn't talked about yet, and maybe why I didn't talk about them. So if you want to see that, you can look at my stream archive and see all the rest of the games at some future date. So I hope you will follow all those links and do that. Let's hear it for following all those links and following me on Twitch. Let's give that a round of applause. Let's hear it for giving me money on Patreon. Yeah, let's hear it for giving me $1. Love giving me $1. You know what? You know what? Let's hear it for all of you. All right. Well, that's going to be the end for the YouTube viewers. And now I can go into the rest of the games. What was this? Make a video saying you will one day finish that last Zelda game that you will never play again. Were you talking about Majora's Mask? Because I do remember I got through all of the dungeons in that game, and I only had like the final boss left to do. Um, Maybe one of these days I should like see if my old save file is still around for that and try to actually finish it. Because I've still never finished that game, not even on my own time. Hmm. Ah. But yeah. Let's go through the rest of the games I didn't really talk about. So this is going to be like a bonus category here. The first category in the unmentioned games is the non-functionals. These were games that gave me technical difficulties for one reason or another that I really couldn't make a fair evaluation of to say if they were good or bad. So first in that category was Lego Batman. I was really like looking forward to this one too. And I talked a lot about how, I played Lego Lord of the Rings and that was just a good old-fashioned fun game. And I hoped this would be more of the same, but I eventually got stuck. There came a point where like I had to drive a car, like a remote controlled car through a little tunnel, and it just kept getting stuck there and I couldn't move and I had no idea why. I thought I was doing something wrong, but I ended up Googling the problem later on, and it turns out that happens to everybody if you don't turn VSync off in the game, which I had neglected to do. So I ran into a game-ending glitch that prevented me from experiencing a lot of the game. Here's exactly the part I'm talking about. I had to drive that little remote-controlled car through there, and just for whatever reason, if VSync is on, which it is by default, that car won't go through that tunnel, and you can't finish the first level. So that was a big problem in Lego Batman. Maybe Lego Batman 2 will work better whenever I play that one of these days. And then the other non-functional, which I feel kind of bad for, honestly, was Yooka-Laylee. It was another one I was kind of looking forward to. I wanted to play just a good old-fashioned 3D platformer, and had some kind of weird glitch happen a few minutes into the game where, like, no more sound would play. Had just no sound effects or music or anything. And I think my computer ended up crashing around that time. I ended up having to completely restart my computer to conclude the stream. It kind of sucked. Should have put this category in the YouTube video? Nah. I didn't want to do that because I want to keep the YouTube video more positive overall. And this part is mostly going to be about, like, here's why I didn't get as much enjoyment out of these games. So there go the two non-functionals. There's no winner in that category because you don't want to be a non-functional game. The next category is the too hard for me category. And I had 4 of these happen. Let's see what I had first. First one of those was... It was System Shock Enhanced. That's something that's just going to come with the territory of the game being really dated. I'm sure that, like, if I had played it around the time it was new, then I could put up with a lot more of the stuff, like reading text logs and having a million useless items I'm able to pick up, and, like, menus taking up half the screen the whole time. But yeah, this was. It might have been one that I cut short just because, like, I could not get into it. Not necessarily that the game is bad or anything, but I don't know. I mean, System Shock is old enough and has made enough of an impact on the world that, like, I don't really need to make excuses for it or anything. It has its own legacy. Um, if I am shitting on it here, I don't think it's gonna blemish that in any way. So my next too hard for me game was this one, Hellpoint. Uh, I had higher hopes for this one. It was, like a cyberpunk, dark space, Dark Souls game. And I didn't get very far in it. Maybe if I had dedicated more time to it, I could have had an easier time, but yeah, it didn't captivate me like a Souls game usually does. I kind of had some points where I felt like I was banging my head against the wall, which doesn't really happen in a Souls game in my experience, because those games give you a lot more options of different things you can try to succeed. I had to spend my whole 45 minutes in this game with one weapon option, one shield option, and like one armor option, and just be frustrated with the really far spawn point anytime I lost. So I didn't have too much fun with that one. Third, too hard for me game was Gut Whale. That one, yeah, I actually like cut that one quite a bit short because of how little fun I was having with it. I think I only gave it like maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and I was just like, yeah, it's really annoying, like dying in one hit, but not only that, I felt like a lot of the deaths were not in my control. I felt like I was dropping down into the next level and then just immediately landing on top of an enemy, which I couldn't really do anything about unless I memorized all of the enemy patterns of where they could possibly spawn. I felt like the game kind of unfairly screwed me at times. So I didn't get too into Gut Whale there. And then the last one, in the too hard for me's, it just was Crime Cities. This was like a giveaway on GOG, or GOG as I like to call it. um, so again, this is another like System Shock case where it's like I'm sure it was really cool at the time, but now it has like controls that I cannot abide. Just cannot deal with them. And I think I only played this one for a few minutes before I was like, I am not going to be able to like pierce through the wall that is this game's control scheme. Could not take the time to like get used to it. I feel like I would have to take a whole class just to learn how to play this game and learn how to control it. So it lasted a very short time overall. Let's hear some applause for that, so I can take a drink of water. Woo! The first Game Roulette Award stream, I didn't even make these categories for the unmentioned games. I just went through and like talked about them all. So this one is the really deserves some kind of award. Award. These were games where like, you know, I enjoyed my time with them, and I feel like they deserved better than they got, but they just didn't really like stand out enough for me to mention them in any other category. So let's see what I've got first here. First one that really deserved some kind of award was Ethereal. This one I had some pretty good, genuine fun with. It was a very like abstract puzzle game. It's very much just like feel things out and like see what actions cause what things to happen and then try to make the favorable actions happen again. But yeah, it'd be like impossible to explain how this game works to somebody who has never seen it. It's like so you play as like a blob of color and like there are these lines and you can move through horizontal lines, but you can't move through vertical lines. So you have to figure out which lines to move through in order to get to some color shapes. And you reach the color shapes and it causes some of the lines to move. There's no way to like describe this and make it compelling. You kind of just have to see it or try it. And it was pretty good. I had fun with that. Whew. Next one really deserves some kind of award is Gnog. This was cool. It's like a little virtual puzzle box simulator. Just, it was another one of those like click on things and see what things cause other things to happen. You just kind of play around with it until eventually you're full on solving a puzzle. And I liked how all of the different like levels as they were had like a different theme to them, very different color schemes. I think it was invented to be like a VR toy, but I played the non VR version because I don't have a VR headset or anything. But they were really cool. It's a very stylish game. I enjoyed it pretty well. But it wasn't really like gimmicky, I don't think. I didn't think I could put it in best gimmick category. It was just a pretty neat puzzle game. Another one I enjoyed. My next one was Hell is Other Demons. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. And this one, I mean, I have to say, I didn't like have a blast with it, but it's a solid game. Very simple, very arcade style, shoot 'em up type of game, but it seems to also have like a lot of unlockables that I didn't experience. Very high skill ceiling, I would say. A lot of opportunity to get good at this one. But I don't know. It just didn't like stand out enough for me to like be amazed with it. Still, it might be worth a look. Maybe it's your thing. Let's see. The next one, everybody knows it. It's Prison Architect. This was one where, like, it's unfortunate, but I spent my entire time in the game Roulette just playing tutorial levels, and I never even finished the tutorial because of how long it was. It's a shame because so many people have told me over the years that I should play Prison Architect and that I would really like it, especially as a fan of RimWorld. So, yeah. Obviously, it is a really good game, but I feel like I didn't really get far enough into it to, like, evaluate it in that way. But, I'm sure it is deserving of love and credit. next one I've got is Renowned Explorers. This one I came so close to putting into the, like, I think you should buy category. Because it's got a lot going for it. It's a cool strategy game that's, like, easy to pick up, but has a lot of potential depth. Kind of reminded me of something like For the King, if you ever played that game, which is really fun. It's a cool little strategy game. It's got good artwork. Had just an all-around good time with that one, but I just could not come up with an award category to put it in. It's probably worth your money. Let's see, I've got, two more to put in here, actually. I need two more video file slots in OBS. We got Sagebrush. Oh, wow, it came up full screen. This was one that, like, I felt like was deserving of something. I almost put it in the best art style category, but wasn't that crazy about it. I am a fan of the, like, pseudo PS1 looking graphics, but at the same time I also feel like nobody can ever, like, really replicate what a PS1 game looked like. It's just, like, enough to make you say, oh, this reminds me of the PS1. But it never, like, quite gets there. That was the one, like, during that stream, I kept talking about the ass demon on its way to find me. And it's just like, you can hear it. You can hear it coming for you. Spooky. But one more in the really deserves some kind of award category. Really, this is the one that I should have put in the actual awards show, since they do deserve some kind of award. We got Verdant Skies. This one, we kind of joked and memed on it a lot. I ended up naming at least one of the characters after the chat. Yeah, that Jade character became Jade T. I do remember that. And I think I named one of the other characters Bueno Excelente, because she used at least one of those words in her dialogue. But this was a pretty cool little game, It was, like, very much in the vein of, like, a Stardew Valley type of game, where you're, like, starting a farm and building the community and interacting with the characters, and there's probably romance later on. I don't really know. This is another one that I strongly considered going back to on my own time, but never quite did that. But, I'm sure there is got to be somebody out there that this is exactly their jam. And so, somebody needs to see this. Somebody needs to see that I think this game deserves some kind of award. So let's hear it for all of the games that deserve something. Alrighty. A few more games to review. Let's see, the last one is just the Unremarkables. And I'm going to try to not spend too long talking about each one because, by definition, they're supposed to be pretty unremarkable. So we had Elephant in the Room, which is obviously like a very small proof of concept type of game, where you play as an elephant and you try to stealthily escape a very big and crowded house. The physics were kind of funny, but I felt like the stealth mechanics didn't work great. Also, the physics were kind of finicky when I was trying to make them work to my favor, but it had mm, a couple of fun moments. So there's Elephant in the Room. My next unremarkable was Photonica. I considered making this one a nominee in like the art design category. I kind of like the simplistic vector graphics that it has, but the gameplay was like not that deep. I felt like I kind of felt like a lot of the jumping that you do in the game is like a leap of faith. Sometimes they are like unnecessarily precise. So it was fun at first, but quickly became frustrating and, in the end, unremarkable. My next one is Helium Rain. And for another person, this game might be more remarkable. I'm not that into space sims, that's just me personally. But it was pretty cool how it simulated like full three-dimensional movement in space and trying to dock onto space stations and the precision that that requires. But I could see that becoming very frustrating and repetitive very quickly, so it was not something I felt compelled to play further. Next one was Micron, and both when I was compiling the clips for the game roulettes and just now when I had to like pull it up for discussion, I was like, what the hell was Micron? Like, I completely forgot that I played this game. I forgot that it existed. Like, I have to see the footage every time to be reminded, like, oh yeah, it was that one where you, like, place diagonal surfaces to reflect some balls and had, like, a pretty cool implementation of the music and the rhythm. But, yeah, overall, didn't grab me that much. It was fine. Totally fine, just nothing to write home about, I guess. Another unremarkable was Mission It's Complicated. We get another drink of water. Because I was reminded how much dialogue reading there was in this game, and how I was just dying of thirst going through this. But it's a genre I don't really play. It's a visual novel. It's the kind of thing where, like, I know I played Doki Doki Literature Club, and I had a good time with that. But I feel like the most fun with a visual novel would be, like, getting to actually act out the characters with another person. So I didn't have that. I just played this for 45 minutes and, like, wore my voice the fuck out. But it was a neat enough premise. Just, again, wasn't, like, something that blows me personally away. Next I've got Prey. This is, of course, the more recent remake of Prey. It's not the original game. Um, it's less of, like the straight up first person shooter like the original Prey was, and goes more into being an immersive sim, kinda. Um, it seemed pretty good for a while, but I just know that if I went on to play more of it, I would have the compulsion like this to hit every single object in every single room with the wrench to see if it's a mimic. Um, it's fun and like funny for a while, but I know after a while I would just get sick of it. I would get sick of acting out that compulsion every time. Like, obviously, I have to hit everything in the room with the wrench because I would be stupid not to, and that gets very repetitive. So I probably won't be playing Prey again on my own time. Unless somebody tells me that I'm like missing something totally amazing about it. I don't know. I feel like I'm probably not missing out. Another unremarkable was Silicon Zeros. And I should say, like, obviously, Unremarkables has a pretty negative connotation. It's not that it was a bad game. It certainly looked like something dense and impenetrable that I would never have fun with, but I enjoyed it pretty well. But honestly, what ended up being the most remarkable thing during it was that I just ended up talking with somebody in the chat about Brad Neely animations, like the Baby Cakes and Professor Brothers and Quiblo. And that was what I had the most fun with during that game. But yeah, it's not that there was anything bad about it. Just not really my cup of tea for the most part. Hmm. I got a few more. Now these next ones are going to be full screen. um, this one I feel bad about putting in Unremarkables. It's Spooky Station, which was a really cool gimmick. Maybe I should have even put this in the favorite gimmick category, because what this one was like a bundle of 9 games in one, and they're all unified by the theme of Halloween. Uh, some of them I didn't care for at all, some of them I really loved. I tried to like put a 5 minute limit on each of these games since it was really 9 in 1. So some of them I didn't really get to see much of. Some of them I actually gave a little extra time because I had so much fun finishing them. My favorite one, well, the one on screen now was really good, but my favorite one was like this first person adventure game where you are like a slasher character, like waking up and going through his morning routine. It was really, it had a really like nice and subtle sense of humor to it. It was pretty cute. I enjoyed it. But yeah, like this spooky cooking was not great. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about. This was my favorite in the set. Like if this had just been a game by itself that I had played, I probably would have given it an award. So yeah, this one just kind of ended up in that awkward place where it's like, am I giving an award to all of the games in the bundle, or is there just one really good game carrying it, or like, what's exactly going on? It was hard to make a definitive judgment call on that one. Then let's see. The next unremarkable was Surviving Mars. This was another one where I was playing the tutorial the entire time that I played the game, so I couldn't really get that deep into it. I would always get this one confused with like Off-World Trading Company and other like interplanetary strategy games I might have played here. Um, I remember very little about this one, except that there were like little rover buddies that would go around and like gather all the resources and stuff. Pretty unremarkable. It's a good fit for the category of unremarkables. And then one last game for this category. And one last game to talk about was When Ski Lifts Go Wrong. I kind of dig the premise of the game, honestly. I like this physics puzzle type of game. And it's cool that like you can play as a skier or a snowboarder in some of the levels, rather than just actually designing a ski lift. And like the ragdoll effects were fun, and the blood effects when you fail at a puzzle. That kind of stuff was cool. But, yeah, it wasn't as packed with hilarity as I expected it to be, I guess. But still, not a bad experience. Still enjoyed it. It was still worth my time. Well, let's hear it for the Unremarkables. Alright, and with that, it is, well, the end of the second ever Game Roulette Awards. They were a rousing success, I must say. So I'm going to clear off the screen here. And then I'm going to do a short BRB while I get my wardrobe changed. And then actually start up a game roulette. So, while I take my break here, maybe I will leave you with some award-winning music. How about the Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor?